Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course stream for fun. Today we're going to be taking a look at another state of gaming where we're looking at skill-based matchmaking, and especially Activision's, and how this is going to ultimately kill multiplayer, and it already kind of is. And so this is going to be a longer one. Be sure that if you're also watching this on YouTube at Gaming Garbage 22, that you take time to put the play speed at probably 1.25 times. It's also pretty early in the morning, so I'm probably going to talk a little slow as I'm working my way through this. But looking at skill-based matchmaking, there's been a lot of people that have been complaining about it well before Modern Warfare 3. And this has always had me curious, because the idea originally was just, hey, this is multiplayer, and then you get somebody that's really good, or you get somebody that's been playing a lot or has all of the attachments on a gun or all the skills, whatever, and they can just absolutely rule the map, right? And it really doesn't make it as fun or competitive as everybody else. So the idea was, hey, let's introduce skill-based matchmaking. Well, as things went on, we started getting into cheaters as well, modders. I mean, I even remember this back with the original Halo, like Combat Evolved. I mean, that is a freaking old game, folks. And it was incredibly frustrating sometimes to really get into this, but we ultimately knew that as we were weeding out the cheaters, as you know, skill-based matchmaking had more of a staple in our games. Like Team Fortress 2 was an old one, but like also Halo and Call of Duty and Medal of Honor, back when we actually had Medal of Honor. We're also looking at Overwatch 2 and Apex and Fortnite. Like, there's kind of, in Destiny, there's kind of this focus of skill-based matchmaking so that things were more competitive and more evenly shared across the skill level of teams. And even to the point where, like, people could get penalized if they left a match early, because, you know, they want to create that environment that is going to keep people playing. And that is ultimately the thing that we're going to be talking about, keeping you playing. Now, lately, there's been a lot of things that haven't been gone over very well with the latest Modern Warfare reboots of number 1, 2, and 3, and especially 3. There's been some kind of interesting stuff going on where people have been talking about bots, which we're not going to talk about that today necessarily. We might bring that up a little bit, but especially with Modern Warfare 3, there's been a lot of people that are like, look, something is going on, something just feels off. Okay, there's people that are absolutely obliterating me, and then people that are dumber than a doornail in the next match and anywhere in between. And so I am going to get into the patents. Now, some people have brought this up already, which is what has gotten me started. But we're going to be looking into the patents directly that Activision has for skill-based matchmaking. Now, these are very boring. I do have the numbers, which I'll rattle them off for you if you want to take, a look at them yourselves. You can always just go to the U.S. Patent Office online and just type in Activision, and it'll pull up the ones they've applied for, the ones that have been canceled or no longer active, and the ones that are currently going. But once we dig through these, there's basically 3 of them. It'll really dig into kind of how the matchmaking is designed and how this really kind of keeps our game going. And then I'll have my final thoughts. And this will be a long one. So yeah, buckle up and strap in, folks. I think this one will actually be pretty good. So yeah, the complaints of skill-based matchmaking, and you know, it's not like this is new. Like, we have quite a few that do this already, but when things are asked from the community, hey, how is your skill-based matchmaking working? Well, you know, they usually tell us. I mean, Overwatch tells us, which is kind of the same company as Activision, right? Same with Diablo 4, same with Destiny and Bungie. Also, like the Epic Store. I mean, it doesn't matter really which game you're looking at. They're willing to tell you what's going on. Even 343 Studios with like Halo Infinite. But then when asked about with Activision, hey, how is it designed? Something just feels fishy here. They were already supposed to talk about this like back in November, and it's been absolutely silent. They haven't said really a word. And anytime we do get something, it's very generic, very basic, and there's just not really much there. And so it really kind of started getting me curious. And as I started looking through these patents, it really started culminating in building this picture of just like, oh my goodness. They are going to destroy multiplayer, and this is why people are starting to leave. So let's dig into the first patent here. So the publication date was 2017, October 17th. This is U.S. patent, U.S. 2016005270A1. Lay down. Lay down, please. Hold on, folks. Lay down. My dog's waking up this morning a little bit, just like me. All right, so the method and the whole reason of this patent is to drive the microtransactions in multiplayer games. And the purpose is purposefully putting players that buy used microtransaction items to be matched with players that don't have those items. So it's a way to kind of entice you, to show you that they're cool, and they're purposefully picking the players that are good and with these items, so that you see it and you look at the scoreboard. That's the only reason they brought the scoreboard back, by the way, is so that you can see, oh, hey, they're doing well. Oh, yeah, I remember that guy. I remember that name. That guy had that particular, like the Doom shotgun in Modern Warfare 3 right now. Oh, my word. Or the Groot skin, which is why more people bought the Groot skin for, like, Warzone and things like that, is you could basically hide in it. Same with the Rosa skin, you know, which was all black. It was easier to hide in the shadows and in corners and out of the light and stuff. And so as we see these items that are being used by players that seem to be winning or seem to be killing us, then ultimately it's like, oh, hey, we're, maybe if we got that, we could be better too. And they totally know this is all the psychology, folks. They totally know that if they can get us to believe that something is benefiting another player or giving a slight advantage over us, we're more enticed to buy it. Even if it's, an extra $20, we're still likely to purchase. And so the players with are purposefully being, kind of, I wouldn't say allowed, but they're purposefully being ranked and matched with other players that kind of suck at the game or aren't as good, so that they can see the items and be like, hey, I want to be able to purchase that. And the players without, like I already said, with the Groot skin and the Rosa skin and the Doom bundle and all this stuff, well, they're going to want to pay for these. And the thing that sucks is that a lot of these lately, especially across all games, haven't been transferring over to other games. Maybe your currency can transfer over that you haven't spent yet to the next game, because it's still in the same wheelhouse. But like the skins that you bought, well, they only recently started doing this with Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3. And it's not all of them, it's only some. And then on top of that, when they work on making some of these skins, well, they can start making them unavailable, or when enough players complain of like pay-to-win aspects of the game, this is totally what they're doing, folks. They're making slight advantages, having good players get them or use them in the game, and then enticing us to continue to buy more. And this is where, the pay-to-win aspect really gets kind of nasty, is again, these aren't like God mode pay-to-win items, but they give slight advantages, and it's enough to actually have a difference on the battlefield. And a problem, too, is that ultimately, when enough people complain, they can nerf these, they can remove these from the game, and then, of course, there's no way to get a refund from that. And so this is something I hated too with even World of Tanks way back in the day, is that they started changing the tanks, they started changing what class they were, started changing characteristics of the items that I paid for in the game, and then, or even completely removed them entirely and gave me my money back, which at least was nice, but not all of them do that. Not all companies do that with their games. And, in my opinion, that's really a form of fraud. And so, regardless, this first patent is definitely designed to get people enticed to play and buy items that aren't necessarily going to be there or aren't even likely to transfer over, or they're willing to just change them and tweak them and take them away entirely, which in my opinion, that's fraud. Like if I buy, technically it's not illegal yet, which I really think it should, but like if I buy something on the belief of the service and product and it's not how it is, at any time after purchase, in my opinion, that is absolutely fraud. So the next patent is US 2019-009-1577A1. This was published in February 18th, 2020. And what this is it's an incentivization of teamwork in multiplayer games. And so what this does is this takes time to look at co-op play and interactions. So we're talking about game chat, we're talking about emotes, we're talking about sharing about items, we're talking about, texting in game chat, we're talking about anything that can be construed as social content, right? Or sharing of things or pictures or screenshots or whatever. And all of this is ultimately tracked. which is kind of crazy. Like, yeah, the emotes aren't for our benefit, folks. They're designed for them to actually track and incentivize us to continue to buy. And so the games will promote preferred items by the players. Again, all of this is tracked data, mass data. And so the items and the emotes and everything else is tracked. And then the items are purposefully promoted to better suited aspects of the game or better suited to certain players. There's also even better rewards that are pushed, like the freaking daily challenges or weekly challenges and stuff, because it's all learning about how you play. Like, none of it's freaking randomized, folks. It's all designed to get you to keep playing, to keep making you feel like you're being successful, having a good experience with other players in the game to get you to keep coming back. I mean, it's why I play Warzone. If I was playing it by myself, there'd be no way I'd be playing that game. But I got other good friends that I play with, and we have, whether we die or not, we have a good time. And we basically do this multiple times a week. But really, we don't buy anything. We just have the basic stuff, and we enjoy it for what it is. Also, the preferred microtransactions. So this isn't just preferred items or things that are free or like things that are put into Game Pass and Battle Passes. This is also across the daily challenges and the missions and stuff and the things that we can work toward to get points, but also this is preferred microtransactions too. So again, this is coupled with the first patent of driving microtransactions in multiplayer games, and then they're using the incentivization of teamwork and co-op games. This is why games basically have 3 or 4 player squads, because they want to be able to continue to entice from one end. Like the first patent is to say, hey, the enemy beat you with these items, please buy them. And this one is saying, tracking everything and your experiences and how things are going, saying, hey, your teammates like these particular items or microtransactions, why don't you buy them too? And so they're getting you from both ends, trying to get you to get you to spend as much as you can. And this is why I feel so bad for Destiny players, because Bungie did it so well, even before Sony bought them, where I know of players that have spent thousands of dollars on Destiny before they finally quit after Lightfall. And I just feel so bad for them, because all of that is now wasted. It's literally worthless, because they're not going to go back, and they're not going to buy Marathon either, because they know that ultimately they got duped. It just sucks they had to spend thousands of dollars to figure that out. And it's not that they didn't have a good time, but ultimately, folks, the gaming space is not something we own anymore. It's catered to us to get us to spend more money. That's all it is. It's marketing. And see, I have pitched this before, I have complained about this before, that the gaming industry is no longer interested in making games. They're interested in making a store, a shopping experience. And they're using psychology, they're using marketing. That's all marketing is, actually, just psychology of a shopper. And they're using that to entice us, to get us to continue to spend more. So if you have the discipline to say no, congratulations. You are honestly leveling up as an adult, and you're doing a wonderful job. And every once in a while, that's not what I'm talking about, but they know if they can get people to spend more, they are making billions and billions and billions off of us every year, every type of game. Otherwise, if they weren't profitable, they wouldn't keep running. It's pretty insane how much Fortnite's made. Apex, Call of Duty, even Overwatch. It is pretty unbelievable. Even these free-to-play games. I mean, they are making buttloads of cash off of us, selling us something that's temporary, and they know it. Also, too, a part of this incentivization of teamwork and multiplayer games, there's a large focus to create an experience that is enjoyed, and to use other players and cater difficulties to achieve that experience. So there's even likability metrics in this patent. They even analyze your skill level. So they're analyzing how well you're doing, how many kills you got, how many headshots, what you used, what maps or game modes you like to play. Everything is absolutely being tracked through their servers and through their software and firmware. And it's pretty insane. And I really feel like this is partly why games are getting so big. Because we definitely had to jump from 1080p to 4K. That's 4 times the resolution. That's a lot of space, right? Especially if we're going to push to 60 frames. Well, now we're quadrupling the resolution and then also doubling the frame rate if you have like a PlayStation 5 or you have a Series X. Let me get a little bit of water, folks. I'm getting over being sick. Hopefully you guys aren't getting sick at all. Man, yeah, this one was nasty. This flu I had. But anyway, and so yeah, they're tracking all of this stuff, and this is why I think games, especially like COD, are getting to be 200 plus gigs per game. It's really pretty insane how big some of this is getting. And also why we have certain hubs, too. So we now have Call of Duty headquarters. Also, Payday 3 had their own thing, creating a login and their own hub for stuff. And other games do this, too, like Counter-Strike Go. Steam has one. Valve. I mean, everything is basically designed to track us and what we're doing, how we're spending, how we're playing, all of that stuff. None of it is on accident. And so, what's crazy is that this even patent of incentivizing teamwork, they even had some pictures and tables showing that things aren't in any of the Activision games currently, but it really kind of makes me wonder about future games. Or if they've even implemented it so far, because the patent wasn't necessarily up to date. I think it was up to date as of last year, not this year. And this year we got, well, Modern Warfare 3. But honestly, this kind of sounds like some of the changes that we're seeing in multiplayer with incentivizing teamwork and focusing on things. And we got emotes and more calling cards and more emblems and more. We even got ways to showcase our game and our guns and our characters and our skins. And I'm just like, it's so incredibly over the top compared to even what it was in Modern Warfare 2. And for those of you that are keeping track of this, share some of your comments on some of this so far. What do you think of these patents? What are you seeing in the games? How do you feel about SBMM? And not just in COD, but in other games too. I don't have time to play everything, so please share. Because I think the better we understand what's going on, the better we can ultimately fight against this and realize that we're being manipulated. And this is a huge manipulation game. I mean, I knew this was big, but this is totally taking the cake. Also, emotes in the game, they're basically set to increase the liked experience so we can keep coming back. So all of the little everything in like Call of Duty in their Activision Blizzard games, or any game really, Fortnite, Valorant, etc., it's all designed to keep you playing. None of it is for your benefit, folks. That's what I'm really trying to get at. And yeah, this patent of incentivizing teamwork, it's all designed to just keep you playing, just having a good experience. And it's catered for you to have a good experience. It's not catered for you to really feel like you're really good or you're really bad, just somewhere in the middle. And that's why everybody has the same kill-death ratio, which is insane. And this is the next patent that I'm going to get into. This is number 3. This is US 108574668B2. And this one has got quite the long title, but methods for dynamically weighing match variables to tune matches. The goal is to optimize player matchmaking. Now really pay attention to this one, because this one's a pretty big one. The idea is to speed up the matchmaking process, leverage game purchases, having idling bots, or bots that are being a part of the game, perfecting an ideal mix of players and play styles. And also IDing people. Like, we each get kind of like a gamer profile with Activision Blizzard on how we play, and that even changes. So dynamically, it's constantly tracking everything that we do and constantly changing our profile to better give us things that are going to sell. This is the same thing with what Facebook and Meta uses. This is what Google and YouTube use to shove new ads. I mean, if you literally look up something you don't normally look up, maybe like tires, like I did, because my wife got a nail in one of her tires. So I was looking up some tires, and then all I saw was automotive ads, tire sales, all of that stuff, literally the night of, like within the hour. And it's all designed to keep you tracking, folks. It's all designed to just get you buying and give you what you want, so that you can pay with your emotions instead of your head. Also, the program is constantly dynamically learning about you. It's making changes to your profile so that it, excuse me, it can always optimize matches based on observed data. Like I said, I'm getting over being sick, folks. Excuse me. And so this is something that's crazy about me, is that as you're playing, as you're interacting with stuff, as you're engaging with the game, you're making purchases, it's even tracking what you're looking at, what you're highlighted on. And this is why there's usually like a highlight silhouette over boxes in the store. This is why there's highlighted things over where you're going around in the screen, because it's keeping track of all of that. It's keeping track of how long you're hovering over stuff and how much time you spend. And then with the profile, everything is directly catered to you for, again, your challenges, what's promoted in the game, making sure that other players in the game are having something that you don't have yet. Like, this is crazy. And so again, I think some of this dynamically weighing the match variables to make better matches for us is actually in a good way, like IDing bots, the type of bots that we don't want in games, right? Or speeding up the matchmaking process, but leveraging purchases, mixing the perfect ideal mix of players and play styles, making it fun for you, so that it can take all of this data and get you to continue to pay. Also, there's things considered in your gaming profile, and it also considers your player profile. So not just stuff with just specific that game, but like all of the other CODs that you've considered, or any data that can have access to other games that you've played, or how long you're on, or what else you buy or have downloaded to your console. Like, some of this data is pretty far-reaching. Also, past purchases, your play style, your type of weapons you use, your classes you've used, the type of game modes you play, the amount of kills, the objectives that you've completed in games, the time you've played, the headshots, the gear used, even your router performance, folks. Like, that's even a crazy one. Like, there's literally a whole breakdown and illustrations showing how they're monitoring your router and your ping performance to make sure that they can match you in games where you can still be successful. And people with excellent, ping like mine, I'm usually running under 20, and it's insane because sometimes I'll get these stupid lag spikes of like 100, or like I'm playing at 110 or 120. And it's like, what the frick is going on? And it literally feels like it's just being manipulated so that I have a slight lag time to maybe give some other players a benefit in the game. That's really what it feels like. I mean, why else would they need to know your router performance? And then why do we suddenly see these spikes, like in Warzone or in Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer? It's crazy. And even taking a look at, they had a table in this patent to show match variables that they're considering. So they consider latency, team composition, and skill level of each player, and also as a team. There's a value with a coefficient that equals weighted value across the three variables to make a score for the player, and the score is used to match with other players. As long as, the first patent we went over, let me go back to that, as long as you're playing with somebody that has microtransactions that you don't. And so you're starting to get the picture, folks. There is not a single match that isn't catered to you. And I don't mean just like, hey, buy this. No, I'm talking to the nth degree marketing, studying you, watching what you're doing. I mean, this is way deeper than I ever could have imagined, which is insane. I mean, you have a psychology profile with Activision. And not just with Activision, but also Epic Games and Steam and the makers of Valorant and whatever else. I mean, Xbox is tracking you. Sony is tracking you. I mean, if we understood the amount of effort and amount of money that actually went into making and getting us to spend more, it doesn't even have to be games, folks. Just anything. Magic the Gathering, car parts, or market upgrades for your car. I mean, all of this is literally just pushing. Spend more. And it almost doesn't even seem fair, especially when kids are involved. You think a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old playing a rated M game is going to be able to have the same discipline to say no to microtransactions as somebody like me that's 33 years old? That's already lived almost 3 times as long as him or her or whatever. I mean, it's crazy, folks. In my opinion, that's not fair. But I think they're getting away with some of this stuff because they're saying, oh, well, they're at least 17 because it's rated M. If they're under 17, well, they're not supposed to be playing in the first place. And that removes liability from these manufacturers. This is an issue, too, with like GTA Online. The whole casino, that's what's been keeping that moneymaker going. Also, what they just added like a couple years ago is the GTA Online, or maybe 3 years ago now. But yeah, the GTA Online subscription service. It's just, I mean, the marketing is grown adult level marketing. Like, it's so pushed. And kids shouldn't have to be dealing with that in their video games because they don't have the capacity to say, no, I'm not going to buy that. They don't have the discipline. They don't even know what's going on. Now, some of us probably know, like yours truly, but at the level at which this is all written out, this is insane. And so, yeah, this isn't just an Activision problem. I think with looking at their patents, they're definitely some of the dirtiest. I mean, they're making sure that you're seeing microtransactions from players that are killing you in the game and also players that are helping you in the game, that are a part of your team. They're using everything they can to figure out and dictate how you're playing and what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, you have a psychological profile of how you play and how you interact with COD at Activision. That really just blows my mind, even to the point of router performance, so that you can nth degree be catered to have the best experience that you can, so you can't keep coming back. They're trying to get you addicted, folks. And I don't feel like I have to say that. I feel like most of us probably already understand that, but this is insane. I mean, imagine being somewhere or walking into a store and they know exactly what your buttons are. To make you mad, to make you happy, to make you feel emotional so that you can purchase. They know exactly how much money you have in your wallet. They know how much cash you have when you walk through the door. You know who you're with. They know everything about them too, of what they like to buy and what their buttons are and what their triggers are. I mean, doesn't that make you feel a little uncomfortable? That they know you better than you do? And all of this is also kept track of through algorithms. Programs. It's not people keeping track of this, it's machines. And the absolute immense amount of data centers out there for these games has got to be insane. Because again, it's all marketing. They are trying to get you addicted, trying to get you to feel a certain way, good or bad, so that you can just keep spending. And then ultimately, they don't want you to feel really good, because maybe you need some of that other microtransaction stuff to do better. But they don't want you to feel really bad either, because they want you to keep playing. So there isn't a single organic match in Call of Duty. By looking at these patents, there's not a single one. And I bet you if we peel back some of the stuff with Destiny 2, with Overwatch, with Fortnite, with Valorant, Insurgency Sandstorm, I mean, it doesn't matter. This is what live service is doing. This is a huge live service problem. And it blows my mind. So my final thoughts about all this. The program knows everything about you through this profile, everything that they're keeping track of, everything that you're doing, everything that you're being a part of, the amount of time you're spending on. They're keeping track of everything that you do. There's no organic matches. There's also no way to tell if you're good or not, because everything is graded on a curved bias. Once you start getting too good, they're like, we're going to push you down some. Maybe you're going to have some lag issues because, maybe they'll make your performance a little bit less. Maybe you're not as prioritized. Maybe, too, they're going to put you against bots in the game. Maybe, too, they're going to take the time to put you against other players that are doing better, or by improving other people's performance and router performance, you're going to end up doing worse. Maybe they're not purposefully screwing yours, but maybe they're making the other players better. I mean, there's 100 different ways they could do this, folks. But yeah, they pretty much, when you look at everybody's profile, just about everybody, unless they're cheating, is like a 2 kill-death ratio or worse. And I even remember that being a topic of conversation for a long time of just like, hey, why can't we get above that? Why can't we get to 2.5 or 3? And it's just like every time I get up there, I get smacked right back down again. Also, too, it's all designed to keep you playing. Not for fun, but to sell you more stuff. The fun has been taken out. And something I really appreciate from Steve Jobs when he was really young is he was talking about game design and marketing, and well, just marketing in general for anything. And he was talking about how the designers that design the way in which you interact with a product or service were kind of removed from the company, removed from the process of making the product, and the marketers came in and figured out how they could better sell you the product. Not make the product better, but better entice you to buy it. Again, it's all psychology, folks. It's not to your benefit. And this is why so many games suck. This is why so many games are starting to get to the point where they all feel the same, because they are chasing the dollar signs. And again, I know we know that too, but this is on a whole nother scale, like we didn't even understand. I always feel like I'm getting screwed. I always is pretty leery about someone trying to sell me anything. Okay, anything, folks, even friends and stuff sometimes. So I'm very, I know I'm being screwed over, right, by microtransactions and live service, and I kind of know, and that gets me a little bitter, and so I'm less likely to buy because I kind of know what they're doing. But I never would have had any idea that they would have been doing something like this, that it would have been this deep. Also, they're not selling you a game anymore. They're selling you an addiction. They're selling you an addicting experience by microtransactions in which they tweak, rebalance, and remove and leave behind in a year until the next game comes out. And most of the time, that's not going to transfer. I do think that's going to change some. But again, we're going to get like a Modern Warfare 3, which I'm not excited for this. Because we got number 1, we got number 2, we got number 3. With the campaign, they didn't finish. Okay, they kept it going. So we're still not done with the story. So we already know how it ends. So yeah, what are they going to be doing? Also, the gaming industry is becoming more like a casino, like a lottery ticket that's addicting players. And I really wonder if GTA 6 is going to be like this. We know there's going to be a huge map. We know there's going to be certain characters. We know there's going to be a story, and I think that's great. But the level of, again, marketing and addiction and microtransactioning the game to death, again, if you enjoy the game, that's the whole point, folks, is to get you to like the game even if you wouldn't normally, and it's to get you to keep coming back, is to get you to keep playing, to keep investing in the game, to keep spending that money, like Destiny players that have spent thousands. And it's just disgusting. It's disgusting to me. This is no longer a gaming industry. The big dogs, they're not into making games. They're into making live service. And that's why everything has been turning into live service and microtransactions so that they can get you addicted to their game. Now, in the long term, and even today, I'll still play as long as friends do. So I play Warzone, but I don't buy the stuff. I don't even look at it, folks. I don't even care. But like games like EVE Online, there's microtransactions there. World of Tanks, War Thunder, Overwatch, Call of Duty, Fortnite, Apex. Like these are games that they have microtransactions, but I don't buy them. Dead Space had some, Callisto Protocol had some, Assassin's Creed has had some, GTA 5, and Destiny, World of Warcraft, Starcraft. It is late, folks. I apologize. I'm doing the best I can. But I really wanted to get this out before roughly or around at the beginning of the year, because this is just crazy. I hope I'm making it clear enough. I really do. Because this is not a gaming industry. This is a marketing industry. It's gone so far the other way they don't even care about playing games. And then I really think players are starting to figure this out. People with Modern Warfare 3, they lost sales. 38% compared to the last game they sold. Bungie lost 45% in revenue. And so Destiny is tanking. And they've delayed stuff to try to make it better. And so we are having some pushback, which is good. We need to have that. I think Overwatch 2 is basically dead. Because again, they screwed up the game. And it's to get you to keep playing. And there was another video I did for the State of Gaming of I can't remember if it was the Cogs of Live Service or if it was another one, but there was one in particular that I was talking about where, the train of giving you content, just keeping you playing every few weeks or whatever, every season, every so often, they'll give you something to do. And again, these aren't necessarily fun, folks. It's not like, wow, that was a great experience. It's just stuff to do. And if they can get you hooked, if they can get you to a point where they can keep you in front of the screen, they can keep enticing you to buy stuff. And then eventually, folks, you're going to get to a point where you're like, wow, I literally spent 7 years playing Destiny, and I don't really have any friends. I don't really have someone to connect with, to kiss, to love, to make a family with. My life is me just being in front of a screen, and I play games, and I do nothing. I mean, folks, games are okay, but it's not living. Especially when they're being manipulative as this. It's not living, folks. It's really not. Now, is it difficult being married? Oh, yeah. And if some of you want to tell me that it's easier, but you're not married, shut up. I really don't want to hear it. You have no ground to stand on. Same with kids, which is why probably a lot of you say, well, I don't want kids. But I can also tell you that it is the absolute best thing I've ever had in my life. It is the most rewarding thing I've ever had is having children. It's incredible. Now, some would argue too, and I would agree, that the best decision I ever made was my relationship with Jesus Christ and being a follower of Him. But that isn't fully realized yet. I'm still learning. And I'm still learning being a dad too, but being a dad is indescribable. It really is. I mean, when I come home and my kids hug my leg and stuff and smile when I walk through the door, man, that's why I go to work. It's why I worked 72 hours last week. It's why I was up for 28 hours yesterday, and I just went to work anyway, because I still got to make that money for them. And when my wife is cooking dinner and she's doing stuff, dude, it's amazing. Do not settle for what's on the screen, folks. That's not your life. It doesn't have to be. And I'm hoping that you can make some goals this year to start moving forward. And if you want some help with that, contact me. Leave a comment down below. We can email, we can message, whatever. Okay, we can figure something out. But guys are stuck in front of the screen. They don't have a purpose outside of the screen, and so their life has become gaming. But at the end of the day, the gaming doesn't love you back. Most of the players don't love you back. The friends you thought you had, well, they move on after a while. That always happens, folks. Outside of your room, that's life. And I want you guys to focus on that this year. So, folks, thanks for tuning in and liking and all that stuff. If you enjoyed the content, don't just like and sub and all that. Also share the content. Share this with other people. Gaming Garbage is really a channel that's focused on bringing the garbage forward and also bringing forward the wonderful stuff in the gaming industry still, too, that we have, like Red Dead Redemption 2, like Elden Ring. Okay, there's some wonderful games out there like Hogwarts Legacy and Dead Space Remake that we had this year. And even like Baldur's Gate 3, that was a beautiful one too. And so the channel is all about trying to get to a point where we can educate people on what the gaming industry is like. And a lot of it is garbage, and this is just one aspect of it. So again, if you like the content, you can always follow me over at YouTube at Gaming Garbage 22. That's where I archive everything. I have multiple playlists too where we're taking a look at Game Pass. We have playthroughs of some games. I have some co-op stuff on there. You know, like Lion and I are still working through Lords of the Fallen. Schedules haven't worked out very well lately. I had a lot of overtime this last month. But hey, It's a new year, and we're continuing to press on. So we also have gaming news, and then we have State of Gaming just like this, where we kind of go into deep dive of some stuff. It's wonderful. We have a blast. Also, you can find me over at Twitch at Don't Tread on Thee if you'd like to see some of the live stream stuff. Things where I'm really digging into something. I can't multitask, so I'm not going to watch the stream. I'm sorry about that. But things where I'm playing a game, I'm getting to a better point where I'm actually watching the stream while I'm playing. When I can, right? When I'm not being shot at right away. So hopefully you guys are doing well. Boy, stay safe out there. There's some storms brewing. There's some parts of the country, too, that are getting some snow. And yeah, just do a little bit of prep, have some stuff in your car, whatever. Keep you and or your family safe. That's ultimately what matters. And until next time, folks, I'll see you on the next one.